do I want bitterness? Like, do I really want to hang on to this bitterness, or do I want peace? Because you cannot hold both of those in the same place. You can't hold them deeply anyway. And peace, I would love to hold peace deeply. Peace doesn't mean reconciliation. I had to get through that. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean that there's restored trust. It doesn't mean that that person has access. This person still does not have access to me. It might just mean release. That's it. Welcome to All Can, No Can't, the podcast where we toss out excuses, face our fears, and reclaim control. I'm Jeff Luther, your guide to mastering the chaos and turning obstacles into opportunities. Whether you're an entrepreneur navigating the ups and the downs of building a successful business, or someone ready to rewrite the rules of your life, this is your space to grow, to push boundaries, and to embrace doing the hard shit that leads to greatness. Together, we'll explore stories of resilience, strategies for overcoming, and the mindset shifts that let you build a life on your terms. I use my experience with a life-altering diagnosis to help you find the can in every can't. So buckle up, because it's time to stop living in can't and start thriving in all can. You choose. Welcome back to All Can, No Can't. I'm your host, Jeff Luther, and this is where we turn obstacles into opportunities. Another solo pod today, or a solo podcast. I don't know what the term is for that. Anyway, today's episode is super personal. It's honest, and it's very uncomfortable. I've rewritten this. I've gone through my notes. I want to talk about bitterness, and I don't want to. Actually, I'm going to. I don't want to talk about bitterness, but I'm at a point where I want to, I need to, and someone out there needs to hear it. So I'm going to talk about bitterness. I'm going to talk about anger, the kind that sticks around longer than it should. I think we all know what that means. The kind that convinces you that you've moved on while you're still renting space in your head to that person. And I want to talk about peace, the comparison between the two. Because I think a lot of us say that we want peace, but secretly we keep feeding the very thing that's stealing our peace. I did an Instagram post on this probably a year and a half or so ago that someone was telling me that someone was stealing their peace. I was like, that's bullshit, because you are giving that shit away. No one can steal your peace. But I think a lot of us say that we want peace, but secretly we keep feeding the very thing that's taking that peace from us. So let's get into it. A friend, this is how this started. A friend asked me recently if I was over someone emotionally. We were talking about relationships, and I was divorced a little, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. But it was a long, nasty divorce process. But he asked me if I was over my ex-wife emotionally, and I did not hesitate. I was like, oh my God, yes. Yeah, she disgusts me. And he looked at me and kind of laughed, and he said, well, that's actually an emotion. And just like that, I was caught. I was like, oh man, you're right. You're so right. Because I thought indifference meant healing. I thought disgust meant distance. And I thought like I don't know if resentment is the right word. I thought just that negative emotion meant closure for me. But if someone can still trigger that level of emotion in you, they're not gone. They're still present. Internally, at least. There's a connection somewhere. And I don't mean that connection like in a good way or a desirable way. Maybe not in your life. Maybe that's not where it is, but it's in your nervous system. It's in your thoughts. It's in your reactions. And that one hit me pretty hard. Because sometimes we say we're over something when really we've just sort of changed like the flavor of the attachment. Love is turned to resentment. Hope is turned to contempt. Connection is turned to bitterness. Different emotion, but the same strings are still there. Same bungee cord, same whatever you want to call it. And so my friend asked me why I felt that way as the conversation continued. And I was like, dude, it's the hurt caused to my kids. That's the main thing. It's the pain, the disruption, the selfishness, the fallout. It's the contempt. It's the lack of respect for anyone other than themselves. And then he asked me 2 questions very intentionally. He said, oh, wow. So was all this new? I said, no. He said, and this hurt to your kids, did it surprise you? I was like, no, it didn't surprise me. It's an ongoing thing. And then he said something I'll never forget. He asked me another question. He said, okay, well, is there a season that you don't like? He had asked me this analogy about a car getting a flat tire and me getting mad at the car because it got a flat tire. And that didn't really land with me. I couldn't get it. So he asked me if there was a season that I didn't like. And I don't like winter. So I was like, yeah, I hate winter. I do. I hate winter. I don't like winter because my business is tied to real estate, and real estate is slow in the winter. So it's always been kind of for the last 25 years has been just one of those just season of life that I don't like. And then when I was a kid, holidays could be amazing or just a full-blown fucking disaster. And it seemed like it had to be one or the other. So I never knew which it was going to be. So that's another reason that I do not like winter. Unfortunately, I don't like the holidays. Well, I used to not like. I'm getting to like them. I'm working on that. So winter. I was like, yeah, dude, I do not like winter. He said, do you know that winter is going to come every year? I was like, yeah. He said, right. And do you get mad at the earth every year for tilting away from the sun? Like, oh, curse you, earth. You've made winter come again. And that really landed. Then I got it. I was like, shit, winter comes every year. I know it's coming, but I'm not mad. I just don't like it. Because what he was showing me was super simple. I was angry at a pattern that I already knew existed, at something I already knew was coming. I was outraged that winter had the audacity to show up in winter. I was still expecting summer from something that had already repeatedly shown me that it was winter. And that's where a lot of suffering lives. It's not just in what happened, but it's in demanding reality be something other than what it actually is. Demanding that we're going to get something that we think we're not going to get. Like, we know winter's coming. We know this person's going to disappoint us. We know this person is selfish. We know this person's going to do something that hurts the kids. We know it's coming, and then we're mad. So, but I want to be clear about this. Acceptance, like, I'm not saying approve it, but you accept it. You accept it for what it is. You accept that winter is winter, and winter comes every year. Acceptance is not approval. It's not saying it's right. Understanding behavior is not endorsing behavior. Seeing patterns does not mean that we tolerate the damage. This is not about becoming passive. I'm not saying, we sit and meditate and accept it and and turn the other cheek. It's not about that. It's not about pretending harmful things are okay. This is about freeing yourself from the emotional tax of fighting what we already know is true. Some people just are who they are. And some people are going to do what they do. It's like I did a podcast on orange juice where people say, oh, that triggers me. This person triggers me. When you do that, it triggers me. I'm sorry I yelled at you, but you triggered me. I'm sorry I did all this other effed up stuff, but you triggered me. when really what it is coming out of them is what's already inside. So it's the orange juice analogy.
As you know, I've been coaching for a little over a year now, and my coach just laid something pretty heavy on me. They've challenged me to have 50 powerful coaching conversations booked within the next 30 days. So if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, maybe successful but unfulfilled, or you just need to talk something through with someone that you know will listen, then I would love to have that conversation with you. This is not a tactic. There's no sales pitch. It's just one powerful conversation. This is complimentary to you. So if you want in, send me a message and I'll send you the link. I got you.
No matter what you do to an orange, if you squeeze it, if you juice it, if you roll over it with a bicycle, orange juice comes out because that's what's inside. So some people are just winter. Some people are just winter, cold, unpredictable, hard on the landscape. And you don't have to like winter. You don't have to trust winter. You don't have to build your house with no heat and then act surprised when it's cold. But you can stop being shocked every December when winter shows up. That's what I'm hoping to illustrate here, is that winter shows up and we act surprised. You can prepare, you can adjust, you can protect yourself, and most importantly, you can stop taking it personally. That's part of my issue. I take it personally. And bitterness is sneaky. Because bitterness feels justified. It feels like we have some strength. And I don't mean strength like we're strong. It feels like we have some kind of control over the situation with bitterness. We can direct our emotions. It does, to me, feel a little bit like moral superiority, and that nothing good comes of that. It feels a little bit like justice, but usually it's just pain that never got processed. Bitterness is hurt that learned how to talk tough, so to speak. It's something that hasn't been processed or healed. And we hang on to bitterness like it's going to do something to the other person. Like we hang on to this bitterness. I'll show them. I'll be mad as hell. And what does that do to them? Nothing. But the cost to us is huge. The cost to us is enormous. It steals energy from us, one. It steals energy from other things. So the bottom line, it steals good energy. It steals peace. It steals focus. It steals presence with people who actually love you and care about you and want to see you do well and want to see you have peace. It takes away from the experience of being with people that you want to be around. You think you're punishing the other person. Most of the time, you're just punishing yourself. You carry them into rooms that they were never invited into, rooms they have no business being in, rooms they probably wouldn't even want to be in. But you're carrying those people into those rooms on your own. You replay these past experiences during moments that these people are not present for. They're not there, but you're replaying past experiences with them, or you're replaying the hurt, the disappointment, and those people are not even there to see it. It doesn't matter. We're doing it to ourselves. You let them influence your mood. They're miles away. I mean, good God, this person's in India, and they can influence your mood. That's expensive. That takes a toll on people, and it's too expensive to ignore. So I had to ask myself, all right, do I want bitterness? Like, do I really want to hang on to this bitterness, or do I want peace? Because you cannot hold both of those in the same place. You can't hold them deeply anyway. And peace, I would love to hold peace deeply. Peace doesn't mean reconciliation. I had to get through that. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean that there's restored trust. It doesn't mean that that person has access. This person still does not have access to me. It might just mean release. That's it. For me, I consider it just being complete. That's all I want. I just want to be complete. And it might mean just that I see what's true. It might mean that I respond wisely to what I believe is true, and then I stop trying to collect. Like I stop trying to get payment for a debt that someone is never going to pay. And in their mind, I think it's like habit 5, I think, of the 7 habits is seek first to understand. Like in their mind, there is no debt to pay. So when I stop trying to collect a debt from someone that is never going to pay, then I start to get some freedom. Not because they changed, but because I did. And another perspective here, or another layer that I've thought about is, I say this all the time. One of the things that I learned through my whole heart issue and episode is that everybody's hurting. Everybody's dragging shit around. Everybody's wearing a heavy backpack. So another layer here, everybody's hurting. That doesn't excuse their behavior, but pain usually leaks sideways out onto others. People that wound others, people usually wound others from their old wounds. The saying, hurt people hurt people. I think that's how it goes. Like hurt people hurt other people, I think is the idea. People wound others from their own wounds. Chaos spreads chaos. Unhealed people, they definitely create collateral damage. So here's my offer for you to think about. And this is what I thought about. Maybe that person who hurt you, maybe that person's hurting too. Again, that doesn't erase the consequences, but maybe it can soften that hatred or that anger. Maybe you really are holding on to bitterness because you genuinely do want to see that other person hurt. There was a time where I would say about this other person, I was like, I don't want to see them do well. As a human, that is not a good thing to say. So maybe you really are holding on to something because you want this other person to hurt. You'll get over that piece eventually. Time's your friend. Ultimately, you'll let that go. But if it helps to think that maybe they're acting how they're acting because they're hurting too from maybe some past wrong that's been done to them, maybe that helps you loosen that grip just a little bit. And sometimes softening hatred, that's the first step towards healing ourselves, because hatred keeps you chained to that person. It really does. Compassion, which is hard. I know it's hard, but compassion, boundaries, distance, time, those things can set you free. Some people are just winter. You don't have to love winter. I don't like winter at all. You don't have to vacation there. You don't have to pretend that you like the cold, but you can stop being shocked when it shows up. That's the thing here. And when you stop arguing with reality, peace has space to enter. If you're carrying bitterness today, maybe ask yourself one question. Do I want to be right, or do I want to be free? Sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is not revenge, it's peace. And usually we're the ones in control of that. That's all I got. Thank you for being here. And until next time, I absolutely can't wait to see you. This is All Can, No Can't. This is where we turn obstacles into opportunities. I'm your host, Jeff Luther. If this episode hit home with you, share it with somebody. Share it with someone that you know is carrying anger and you think they might be tired of holding it. Share it with somebody that's carrying something heavy. Because, man, carrying that anger around, believe me, I know, it does get heavy. Hit that follow button and remember there is can in can't. Talk soon. Thanks for listening to All Can, No Can't. If today's episode resonated with you, remember it's not about the chaos you face. It's about how you choose to take back control. It's about finding that one small can in the can't you're given and grinding it down. Find your angle, carve your place out in the world, and get the fucking win. Do that by finding what you can do and not listening to what you can't. You choose. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Your support helps me reach more people that are ready to embrace the all-can mindset. And it lets them know there's someone that's willing to walk with them no matter how dark the path gets. You can find me on Insta at JDLuther 2.0 and allcan_no-can't. This is where I share more tips, stories, inspiration to help fuel your journey. And until next time, keep pushing boundaries, breaking limits, proving to yourself that anything is possible, even when you're told it isn't. Remember, life's not about can't. It's all can. Go prove them wrong.